Hi guys, welcome to the Total Drama Island My Way video. So yeah, I'll basically just be going over what changes I would have made to Total Drama Island and basically just the elimination order. So episode 1 has no elimination. Episode 2 the it goes the same way as the original. The Screaming Gophers win. The boss have to vote someone out. They would have voted out Courtney, but Ezekiel makes his sexist comments, so he has to go. Episode 3. The boss lose again thanks to Gwen winning it for the Gophers. Still, Eva's going home. Episode 4. This is where the boss pull through and win. However, instead of Noah making those sarcastic comments to the rest of the team, which was what resulted in him being voted out, Justin instead isn't playing for his looks, and Heather sees him as a threat, so he manages to get him eliminated by getting Lindsay, Beth, Izzy, Cody, and Noah to vote off Justin. Owen voting him off feels kind of unrealistic, as Owen was really attached to Justin, but Cody would have been more realistic to vote Justin. And at this point in time, he doesn't know that Gwen likes Trent, so he just follows along with Heather to vote out Justin. Harold wins the talent contest for the killer boss like in the original. The Screaming Gophers have to vote someone out again. Really, the writers did not have any plans for Noah. Although he is a fan favorite, he isn't really essential for any plot lines here. All of the others in the team are, so he has to go. Have him perform in the talent contest and then have his show go horribly wrong. Heather actually does her dance, and instead of reading the diary, but Harold still wins for the boss, so Noah gets voted out. Since nobody really wants to keep him around after all. Episode 6. The boss still lose in the same way as the original. So it's between Sadie and Katie who is going to be voted off. In the original, Katie was voted off. But here I'm going to have Sadie get voted off because she is a lot less useful in the challenges than Katie is. Since Katie does do well in certain challenges, such as the dodgeball challenge, at this point in time Sadie hadn't done well in any challenge. In Phobia Factor, Courtney messed up her fear real bad. Duncan, DJ, and Katie get points. Tyler should have had a point. And so should Harold, actually. So both Tyler and Harold should also have a point. Since they both technically did face their fear, but their points weren't counted. The Gophers, Beth, Gwen, Heather, Izzy, Lindsay, Owen, and Trent all accomplish their fears. That's everyone except for Cody and Lashawna. That's 7 points to 5. However, this isn't a very fair style since the Gophers have more. So instead I'm changing it to highest percentage. I'm not taking the time to figure out the percentage. But 5 out of 9 is definitely... No, 5 out of 8 is definitely less than 7 out of 9. So the Gophers have won. And the Bass have to choose between voting off Bridget, Courtney, or Jeff. And we're just gonna put these 3 up here. So I'm gonna say that Courtney votes for Jeff. Bridget and Jeff vote for Courtney, since they are kind of a couple. Who do the other 5 vote for? Duncan likes Courtney, and he also likes Jeff, so he votes for Bridget. DJ is close with Bridget and Jeff and not with Courtney, so he votes for Courtney. Harold probably votes for Courtney as well, the person he's least close to. Jeff did assist with bullying Harold sometimes, but he also did get along with Harold sometimes. Katie also probably votes for Courtney since she messed up her fear the worst. And Tyler too, probably. So that's a vote of 6 to 1 to 1. With Bridget and Jeff getting the last 2 marshmallows with 1 vote each. Courtney gets voted off 6 to 1 to 1. She is essential for plot lines, I know that, but you'll see why I eliminated her later. Episode 8, Izzy costs the Gophers the challenge. The RCMP part isn't really necessary. It can happen. It doesn't have to, though. So actually, yeah, Izzy could just be taken away by the RCMP or chased away by them. Episode 9. This is where Cody was voted off originally because of an injury. I'm not making that happen, and I'm not going to make Heather get eliminated either, because she's the main antagonist. Instead, I'm going to make the Gophers win this challenge. So the Bass have to vote someone out. Bridget, Duncan, Jay and Jeff are all kind of in an alliance, so they can all vote together. Even though they really do not like Harold, they see that he is the strongest asset in the challenges out of these 3. So they decide to keep him in for now. As for Katie and Tyler, they are in the bottom 2. Katie, because she's just been crying about Sadie and Tyler because, well, of his romance with Lindsay. Overall, I'm going to say they decide to vote off Tyler because he was the most hated on their team. Episode 10. Gophers will win this challenge again. Cody's injury and Beth's curse were both really dumb ways to eliminate them. I'm not gonna have either of them exist. Katie and Harold both lack popularity, and even though Harold was really hated by the Bass team at this point, I guess they could still just vote off Katie because she's less useful in the challenges. And in episode 11, the trust challenge, I am going to make the Bass win. There is an alliance of 4 on the Gophers. Beth and Heather. Beth has rejoined Heather's alliance at this point in time because Heather realizes that she's on the outs and she needs to manipulate Beth into voting with her, because if she doesn't, she's going to be out. She also has Lindsay, and then she can just convince Owen to vote with her. Cody was probably the weakest out of these 4, the easiest to beat in a tiebreaker. That's who the Heather, Beth, Lindsay, and Owen vote for, since he didn't do well in the challenge. The other 4 all either vote for Heather because they all hate her, or Lindsay because she did really bad in the challenge. I'm gonna say they vote for Heather, or it could even be split between them, so a tiebreaker isn't even necessary. So, Beth, Heather, Lindsay, and Owen all vote for Cody. Gwen votes for Heather. Trent votes for Lindsay for poisoning him. Lashawna votes for Heather, and Cody votes for Heather, I guess. But since Trent voted for Lindsay instead of Heather, that Cody gets eliminated. Episode 12. Again, I'm going to make Jeff win this challenge instead of Gwen, because the Bass are really down in numbers. So I'm going to say that Heather, again, she can't be eliminated yet anyways, because she's the main antagonist. We have an alliance of 3, and I'm thinking to eliminate Beth here, but how would that happen? Since all the others were planned to go to the merge, Beth is the one that has to go home. The writers came up with a really dumb way to eliminate her in the original. Maybe she could be the first one to drop out in this challenge. And she also breaks off from Heather's alliance. Again, because Heather starts being mean to Beth for that. But Heather knows that it's 4 votes against 3, so she has to convince one of them to vote with her, and she convinces Trent, since I think he would be easier to convince than the others. So that's 4 votes to 3, and Beth is out. Now in the last pre-merge round, the Gophers win. I'm going to change this to merge since this is the merge cast. The Bass, well, they simply just vote out Harold because he's at the bottom of their team, and the other 4 all get to go to the merge. Bridget, Duncan, DJ, and Jeff. I guess the Killer Bass role can be deleted. Episode 14 is a non-elimination that can be skipped. 2 people get brought back. Okay, sorry about that noise if you can hear it. But which 2 people from the pre-mergers get brought back? I'm going to make it that they're... Actually, no, instead of doing a challenge with the remaining contestants in episode 14, this is with the losers, and they all have to play they have to do the eating challenge in order to get back in. See, the first part is like gender based, the girls versus the boys, and since both of the people are going to be brought back that I have planned are girls, I'm going to just make them win. Then in part 2, it's like 3 one-on-one matches. So say it's like whoever was the most, or we could just divide them into alphabetical order for this. So Beth and Courtney, Eva and Izzy, Katie and Sadie. Courtney wins against Beth. Izzy wins against Eva. Eva has to go down here. And Sadie wins against Katie. And then there are players short. So all of the contestants that have already lost have to battle to come back. And the winner's actually going to be Noah. No, listen. They're going to work in teams this time. The winning team for this last part win, and the winners are going... So it's Courtney and Izzy versus Sadie and Noah. The winners are Courtney and Izzy, so they both rejoin the competition. Sadie and Noah both made it here, but they're both gone now. Episode 7 and episode 8 will remain empty because that's where Courtney and Izzy were eliminated at. Courtney in episode 7, Izzy in episode 8. Now they're both back, and this is where Duncan and Courtney's relationship will start developing. Izzy and Courtney are both essential to stay in. Who gets voted out immediately? It's the same merge as normal, except Courtney is in Eva's place. So, who would... Yeah, so who would win? I'm not taking this victory away from Lashana. Lashana can still win. And as much as people want Heather out, they see this big alliance of 5 here: Bridget, Courtney, Duncan, DJ, and Jeff. So the other 7 all realise this, and they all have to vote one of them out. They all agree to vote for Bridget. Heather, Lindsay, Izzy, and Owen all have an alliance here. And Gwen, Trent, and Lashana all have an alliance. The 2 smaller alliances have to target the powerful alliance. They go with Bridget, viewing her as a social threat, I guess. Heather wins immunity in this challenge, but instead of it being how it was, Heather does the kissing Trent stunt after she has the immunity, because it was completely random. There was no way of her knowing it. So Heather does the stunt after she already knows she has immunity. So Trent has to get voted out. Episode 17. Izzy has shown to be a really strong acrobat. Duncan realizes that the guys are on the outs, so he keeps his alliance, but also invites Owen in, but he's already in an alliance. He's really only connected into Heather's alliance because of Izzy. And since Owen isn't in the alliance, they don't find out. So Courtney, Duncan, DJ, and Jeff all vote for Izzy, so they can convince Owen to join them. I guess that Gwen, Lashana, and Trent want to weaken Heather's alliance now. So Heather has immunity, and say she gives it to Lindsay as well by letting Lindsay take either DJ or Owen. Say Heather takes DJ, Lindsay takes Owen, or the other way round, it doesn't really matter. So they all also vote for Izzy. They're outnumbered. Or actually, no, Trent wouldn't be there, my bad. So it would be 6 votes to 4. But yes, Izzy is eliminated at 10th place. Final 9. They can convince Owen to joining their alliance. Owen doesn't know that they voted Izzy. But no, this is a big alliance of 5 versus 2 mini alliances of 2. So even if those 2 mini alliances were to combine, which is unlikely, they would still be outnumbered. Heather wins this challenge, but instead of there being an automatic elimination, this ruling was really dumb. There's a voting. They decide to weaken Heather by voting for Lindsay. Courtney really doesn't like Lindsay, so I think it makes sense. Episode 19. Duncan realizes that in his alliance there are loads of social threats. So he decides to try to get DJ eliminated. So say Gwen would have immunity for winning this challenge. everyone else is up for elimination in a vote. Duncan keeps Courtney in his alliance. He also convinces Heather to join, since it's very clear that she's on the outs now. And Owen. DJ, Jeff, Lashawna, and Gwen aren't all in an alliance. Lashawna and Gwen vote for Heather. DJ and Jeff realize what Duncan did, so they vote for him. The alliance of 4 all vote for DJ, resulting in him getting eliminated. Final 7. Now this alliance of 4 all pretty much have control over who goes home. Gwen wins this challenge, and she does get immunity for it as well as the meal, which does end up getting destroyed by Owen, but she at least can't be voted out this time. She wasn't voted out, but she was eligible to be in the original, but this time she can't be voted out. And Lashawna is seen as a bigger threat than Jeff in general. Even though Jeff is a social threat, Lashawna is a social threat and a physical threat. More of a physical threat than Jeff anyway, so they have to vote her out, viewing her as the biggest threat. Final 6. They're in pairs of 2. I'm gonna say Duncan and Heather go together, Courtney and Owen go together, and Gwen and Jeff go together. Gwen and Jeff realize that if they win the immunity, then neither of them can be voted out by the big alliance. Courtney and Owen will obviously win the eating challenge because Owen is in their group. Who wins the second challenge? I'll give that to Gwen and Jeff, like the original. In the third challenge, I'm gonna say Courtney and Owen win the third challenge. So Courtney and Owen have immunity. Gwen and Duncan, Heather, Gwen and Jeff are on the chopping block. Gwen and Jeff realize that they're at the bottom. They both vote for each other. The big alliance. Gwen is very sure that she's going to be eliminated since she's won multiple challenges, which Jeff hasn't achieved. But they decide to vote Jeff out for being a social threat. Gwen gets the final marshmallow of the night. Jeff is voted out. 5-1. Gwen and Jeff were friends, but Jeff forgives Gwen and tells her that he wants her to win. Final 5. This big alliance between Gwen, Heather, and Owen. No, I mean between Courtney, Duncan, Heather, and Owen all split. Well, they split up. Duncan and Courtney stay together. Heather and Owen are now together in an alliance. In episode 22, instead of having the losers vote for the person to go home, instead, they vote to give immunity to someone. And that immunity goes to Owen. He isn't eliminated. I'm just keeping him here because he's not eligible to be voted out. So in episode 23, I know the Mr. Coconut thing can still happen and Mr. Coconut goes at the end, but there's also gonna have to be a vote to determine which of these four goes home. Owen and Heather vote for Courtney. Duncan and Courtney vote for Heather. So Duncan and Gwen are both safe from being voted out. Courtney and Heather are in the bottom two. Gwen is ultimately the swing vote here. As much as she hates Heather and wants her out, she has to vote for Courtney because she's in a couple this late in the game. Now it's the final four. So Courtney gets eliminated and then Chris does the thing with Mr. Coconut. Like in the original. There isn't even a Mr. Coconut here. Oh well. So it's the girls versus guys challenge. The girls have to win this. Actually no, so Duncan and Owen are placed up for elimination. Heather obviously votes for Duncan. Gwen views Duncan as a bigger threat, but she realises that Owen and Heather are working together and will likely try to vote her out next time. So she reluctantly votes for Owen. So Duncan and Owen are in a tiebreaker. And Duncan is more physical than Owen and would probably beat him in more tiebreakers. If the tiebreaker was like an eating challenge, I'm sure Owen would win that. But I'm going to say that Duncan wins the tiebreaker and Owen gets voted off at the final four instead of Duncan. Now it's the final three. Gwen and Heather hate each other and they're just instead of this being an automatic elimination challenge, it's like the first person to get 10 freebies wins immunity into the final two. Gwen and Heather keep daring each other, and if you don't do a dare that was dared at you, then you don't, by someone else, then you lose a freebie. They're both constantly daring each other, and they both keep doing the dares, but Duncan just keeps doing all the dares he gets, so he wins immunity into the final two. He has to choose his final opponent between Gwen and Heather. He sees Gwen as more of a social threat than Heather. Duncan has allies in the jury, but at the same time, so does Gwen. Heather does as well, but not as much as these two. Duncan wants to have a challenge in the finale, and he wants to have a worthy opponent, and overall he views Gwen as a bigger social threat than Heather. They're both really good in challenges. Both probably better than he is in general. But he decides to take Gwen to the finals, leaving Heather to go home at third place. Duncan and Gwen are the final two. Both of them get winning endings, but only one of them can be canonical. This is how I'm going to do it here. So there's one canonical ending, one non-canonical ending. Which ending is canonical? Everyone would expect Gwen to win. So having Duncan win would be a surprise, even though I would probably find Gwen to be a more rootable finalist than Duncan. Everyone would be expecting her to win, so making Duncan win Total Drama Island. Just gonna read out the placements. 22nd Ezekiel, 21st Eva, 20th Justin, 19th Noah, 18th Sadie, 17th Tyler, 16th Katie, 15th Cody, 14th Beth, 13th, Harold. 12th, Bridget. 11th, Trent. Sorry about this bar, guys. 10th, Izzy. 9th, Lindsay. 8th, DJ. 7th, Lashona. 6th, Jeff. 5th, Courtney. 4th, Owen. 3rd, Heather. 2nd, Gwen. 1st, Duncan. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Bye!